Hey everyone, Mitch coming in for the Command Score Studio. Welcome to the show. Okay, so Magic Foundation spoiler season is right around the bend. I mean, kind of already started in some ways, but yeah, a lot of exciting things are going on and some huge speculation from the community. Let's jump into it on MTG Rumors on Reddit. Yawgmoth Lives, fantastic username right there, has Yawgmoth God Card Speculation Foundations Edition. Let's just read into this and I will give you my take on it and my takes on the potential cards we might see because, yeah, the Father of Machines. I would love to see that card someday. God Yawgmoth. Who doesn't want that? I mean, except for the players that are like, yeah, well, maybe not if they make like an Urza-powered version of it. Maybe not. We don't really need another one of those, but let's jump into it. Hey, all. Yawgmoth Lives back speculating on whether Foundations could finally give us the Father of Machines in his God form. And then, yes, it's another tinfoil hat theory, of course. Now that Morrow Foundation teasers are out and we know we'll be getting new cards from basically any era of storyline with tons of mechanics being in the set, here's what I think. So again, just kind of reiterating this, yeah, if you haven't seen my episode on the Morrow teasers for Foundations, make sure you check that out because, yeah, I mean, there are certain things that could line up, and Yawgmoth Lives was kind enough to point them all out. From the teasers, we have some hints that show more Phyrexian cards. And here's some potential ones that we could have for potentially Yawgmoth. Here we go. An 8/12 with ward 4. Could be him with that size and warding, but nothing concrete. I agree. I definitely agree that, yeah, Yawgmoth, the god form, could be absolutely massive. And, yeah, hard to deal with, so the ward 4 right there. But, yeah, nothing concrete because that could be a couple of things. Next up, a creature with 7 evergreen keywords. I mean, yeah, just kind of like keyword soup, just chucking that at Yawgmoth. Yawgmoth God form is incredibly powerful, of course, and yeah, that could potentially be it. But this also said could be him with some sort of keyword soup, but on him, but unlikely. Yeah, I agree that it's more likely to be like the giant 8/12 ward 4 potentially, but still could be potentially that. Okay. A few of the counters sound like him or very Phyrexian, such as incubation counters. Yes, very Phyrexian there. Revival counters and soul counters. Although that last one is less likely since old Phyrexia dealt much less with the soul and more with the physical. Very true. So, yeah, I would agree with that. I would say that, yeah, incubation is Phyrexian. We could see that on Yawgmoth. Obviously, I mean, the god form... yeah, maybe. But the revival, I could definitely see that potentially even more. Yeah, I think personally. Okay. You may rather pay B than the spell's mana cost if there are 13 more creatures on the battlefield. That one is a bit ridiculous. That is a real, I mean, all these are real texts that are going to be on cards, but yeah, that is a real crazy piece of text. Here we go. This one could definitely fit, especially thinking about his Death Cloud form and him most likely having a high mana cost if they do make him. So him having an alternative cost based around number of creatures in play, be some sort of board wipe ETB would fit well. I don't disagree with that. I do think that like the number 13 has typically been associated though with Innistrad, I believe, when it comes to that. So I do think it's probably going to be more so like an Innistrad based card, kind of like, and I think I said this in the Morrow Foundation's teasers episode. Yeah, I think personally it's probably going to be like a Blasphemous Act in black, which will be kind of crazy ridiculous as well, but we shall see. Regardless, I am taking all of these, teasers and potential links to Yawgmoth very seriously, and I have made some cards that I will be showing off to show what potentially Yawgmoth could look like with any of these. And another big thank you to Yawgmoth Lives for pointing all these out that could be Yawgmoth, because I love just the potential of it, of having God Yawgmoth finally grace Magic with its presence. That'd be really cool. I mean, we have Yawgmoth Rain Position. That's a crazy, powerful, cool commander, but come on, God Yawgmoth, let's go. Also, there's confirmed artifact creature Phyrexian construct in the set That's nice. I don't know if that would be Yawgmoth God itself. So we do get at least one Phyrexian card in the set. I wouldn't think it is Yawgmoth God, but we shall see. This is the tinfoil hat theory and wishful thinking, of course, but it's fun to think about nonetheless. I 100% agree that it's a lot of fun to talk about. To make it even more fun, let's jump into the cards that I made, and you can give me your take on how off I am, how close you think I am, or if you think, yeah, is there going to be Yawgmoth in this set? Is there not going to be Yawgmoth? Let's jump into it. Okay, and each of these cards that I made has different art, as well as different names, and of course different abilities and all that kind of stuff too. So let's jump into them each individually. Again, inspired by that post. Here we go. In 8/12 Phyrexian God, we've got Yawgmoth the Ineffable. For 6 Phyrexian Black, Phyrexian Black, Phyrexian Black. Phyrexian Black, did I say that right? There's 4 of them, okay? This is a very high mana value, again, at 10, but you could pay it for just 6 and 8 life. Yeah, Carrick, son of Yawgmoth, I can't remember how exactly you say that one. Eat your heart out with that cost. Here we go. Ward 4, protection from creatures, I added that in there too. So again, we've got the 8/12 with Ward 4 in there. I threw the protection from creatures in there just as inspiration from Yawgmoth, Reign Physician, had protection from humans. This is like, nah, I'm God form now. I get protection from everything. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may pay X life. If you do, all creatures get -X until end of turn. Like a repeatable Toxic Deluge. Again, on upkeep, it's got to stick around. But then again, it's got creatures and also Ward 4, so it might be sticking around. On top of that, beginning of your end step, discover X for X the number of creatures that died this turn. Now, flavor-wise, do I think that Discover kind of like lines up with Yawgmoth? Like Yawgmoth's like, I'm going on an adventure. Let's go see. Yay. No, not as much, unfortunately. That being said, I was trying to find like a fun way to play into that. Like, all right, you're paying a bunch of life, you're taking out a bunch of creatures, and what is your reward for doing so outside of just clearing the entire board? I mean, again, this is Phyrexian God Yawgmoth, all right? A ton of power. So kind of like a weird version of Urza, where Urza, again, helps you cast random things off the top of your library. This one still helps you cast things for free off the top of your library, but based on creatures dying. So that's kind of where my thought process went with there. Let me know what you think of that. I mean, it's kind of like a, Cascade, but Cascade's only off of, like, cast, though, typically, right? Whereas Discover could have, like, these weird kind of things. Anyways, I think that this is an interesting design. Do I think that Wizards would... Oh, I don't know if they'd give you... I mean, they've done some crazier things, but, like, a repeatable Toxic Deluge. And yes, life, you only have so much of it to give throughout the game, but... yeah, you're going to be able to just repeatedly wipe the board with this if it can stay in play, and to give that Ward 4, your opponents really have to work at trying to get rid of this, although their own board wipes, of course, could take care of it as well, as long as they're not creature-based. But yeah, I think overall, it's a pretty cool, pretty fun design, and yeah, there's definitely some crazy things that you could do with this. Yeah, I do think so. I think that the number of creatures dying is quite nice. And actually, that does count yours as well, so maybe get some, like, creature fodder out there. And then, yeah, just, wipe it again and again and again. Get a ton of, giant things off the top of your library and have fun with that. All right, moving on to the next one. And again, this is the keyword soup one, the 7 different keywords. Here we go. Yawgmoth, Father of Machines, a 1/1 Phyrexian God for Phyrexian Black, Phyrexian Black, Phyrexian Black, Phyrexian Black. That's right. This is a commander that technically costs 4, but could just cost you 8 life. This is yet like another like Rograk kind of commander where this could just cost 0 essentially, which would be quite fun for you. Indestructible, Death Touch, Flying, Menace, Trample, Lifelink, Ward 3. Again, this is a 1/1 that has all of that though. So it's like keyword soup, tiny little Yawgmoth that grows throughout the game. Whenever a creature opponent controls dies, you get a counter on Yawgmoth, Father of Machines. I originally was going to have this like any creature, but I kind of want to make it a little bit kind of more incentivizing you to really go after your opponent's creatures versus just making a ton of creature fodder on your side and sacrificing them to pump this. So starts off super tiny, hard to deal with, and also, yeah, if you can get some counters on it, if you can have it hit hard, it is going to be hard to block, gains you life back, and also gets damaged through quite easily that Trample and Death Touch and, well, Flying and, well, Menace. All of the things. So, yeah, I definitely think this is an interesting kind of play, like on kind of Yahenni-ish but again, one that could just cost you nothing, again, except for life, and could make up that life in no time at all, and also just be a terror on the battlefield, just demolishing your opponents. So yeah, again, this one is just based on your opponent's creatures dying, and I thought that that was a little more kind of flavorful for one that just grows over time. Like, it just grows based on your opponent's suffering and pain, and then it inflicts terrible suffering and pain on all of them. So yeah, let me know your thoughts on this one. And yeah, I mean, actually, I guess technically, I was trying to think, like, obviously all these keywords are not just like in your typical mono black creatures, but yeah, I mean, there are definitely creatures with Death Touch, Flying, Indestructible, Menace, Trample, Lifelink, and I don't know about the Ward really, but yeah, there are definitely ones that kind of take all those. It's not like yeah, okay. Trying to find 7 keywords for one card is tough, okay? Moving on. All right, Yawgmoth, Lord of the Waste. A 6/6 Phyrexian god for 8 mana in total, but it's 5 Phyrexian Black, Phyrexian Black, Phyrexian Black. Here we go. When it enters, if you cast it, put a revival counter on each creature opponents control. So out of those 3 counters for that third point, I did choose revival counters, which we most recently saw on that one cat. I can't remember what it's called, like 9 lives cat or whatever it is. Anyways, whenever a creature with a revival counter on it dies, return to the battlefield under your control with 1 fewer revival counter on it at the beginning of the next end step. So this is a commander that is, a decent presence, 6/6 for potential just 5 mana. But the big thing here is, of course, like, hey, okay, ETB, if I cast it, again, just not using and abusing like Feign Death type effects with this one, but you actually have to cast it, you get to say, hey, all those creatures that you have, everyone else, when they die, they're my servants. They come over here. And also kind of playing around with that, too, if you've got proliferate type effects, cool. You can keep getting them back again and again and again. So yeah, there are some crazy powerful things that you can do this, of course. But yes, basically based on your opponent's creatures again, not just based on, okay, I got like creatures with ETBs on, my side, and then I got revival counters on them, then I sacrifice them and get them back. More so focusing on your opponent's creatures. So that kind of like fun aspect of, fun for you, again, stealing your opponent's creatures, but fun aspect of not knowing what you're going to be getting before the game starts, and then being like, oh, okay, cool, yeah. That's got a really cool ETB. It's mine now, and I'm going to use and abuse it again and again and again. Okay, so again, this was the counters version. Again, I didn't choose to go with Soul because I agree with Yawgmoth Lives that, the Soul is kind of not the focus of the Phyrexians necessarily. And then Incubation, it's just been, not that it's been done before, but like there were a ton of Incubate cards previously. And Revival's a new one. I think that, again, like the Yawgmoth bringing things back, the enemies of Yawgmoth, for Yawgmoth's army, I think is a very flavorful and fun thing for the Yawgmoth player. Moving on to the final one, we've got Yawgmoth Cloud of Death. Okay, so this one is a 7/7 Phyrexian god for 10 mana in total. 7 Phyrexian Black, Phyrexian Black, Phyrexian Black. Yeah, I really thought that, like, kind of like Carrick, however you say that name again, you kind of needed all the Phyrexian Black symbols instead of just regular black mana because, yeah, it's Yawgmoth, Phyrexian god, come on. All right, although here we go, and this is where I don't think it necessarily lines up. You may pay black rather than pay the spell's mana cost to the 13 more creatures on the battlefield. So this would be the Yawgmoth version for that last point that, hey, you know what, that could be potentially it. Again, I think more so it's probably like an Innistrad, callback essentially, and probably like a Blasphemous Act in black. We shall see, though. That being said, Blasphemous Act in black as a commander. When it enters, if you cast it, destroy all other creatures. So this is a potentially 1 mana commander. Gross. So yeah, this is a 1 mana commander board wipe. Yeah, I mean, if there are 13 more creatures on the battlefield. So obviously with a deck like this, I mean, your opponents might just like kind of sandbag a little bit and like not get creatures into play because they're like, yeah, it's pretty close right now. We don't want our creatures destroyed, and we know that you've got a commander that's a board wipe. So let's not do that. Kind of like Child of Alara-ish. But yeah, a giant Phyrexian god. And they might just kind of hold back. So you're going to need, obviously, some of your own creature fodder to ensure that you actually can keep doing this again and again and again when you need to. I mean, like resummoning skeleton type things that can bring themselves back. Creature fodder, just, creature token generation, those kinds of things as well. Again, when it comes to the likeliness of this one being printed, I don't think that they do that where they're like, hey, yeah, you get Yawgmoth for 1 mana. Again. Yeah, and again. And again. Yay! Board wipe Yawgmoth. I think this one's the least likely out of all of them, but we shall see. So, yeah, again, this one, I think it's like, board wipe central. This one is like, hey, value. You get all the value when those board wipes occur. And then you've got Father Machines, which is just like tiny little Rograk type, inspired one, but it has all the keywords. And when your opponent's creatures die, like Yahenni, it's like Rograk / Yahenni with all the keywords just chucked at it. Rograk, Yahenni, Achroma, I guess. Anyways, and then they got the, hey, you know what? Giant, heavy hitting Yawgmoth, come at me, Toxic Deluge again and again and again. Also, why not cast free things off the top library for like inspired by Urza-ish? So, let me know in the comments below how ridiculous all these are, number one. Number two, if you think any of these are actually close to what we could get from a Yawgmoth. Number three, do you think we are getting Yawgmoth? And with that, this episode is coming to a close. Comment below with your thoughts on it. And of course, as always, thanks again and have a good one. This show and episodes like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. If you're looking for an easy way to help support this show, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Also, hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss any new episodes. You can also go check out our playmats and other merchandise at thecommandersquarters.com. We also have a ton of brand new t-shirt designs in stock, so make sure you check out those as well. Another easy way to support this show is with our TCG Player affiliate links. So whether you're buying a deck or individual cards, you can use this general link right here or one in the description. And the final way that you can support this show is by supporting us directly by becoming a patron. There are many benefits to being a patron, and I truly couldn't do this without all of their support.